In today's video, I'm going to share with you the secret to finding those perfect web design clients that pay you well and treat you even better. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. This is Peyton Smith, and in this video we're going to be covering everything that you need to know to start landing better website clients. And so before we do that, I think it's important that we establish what makes the perfect web design client. There are a lot of factors that you need to consider when determining who you should bring on as a client. Now, the first of those is very obvious. It's that they pay you well and pay you what you're worth. So that's certainly something that you're going to want to keep in mind. But a couple other factors that you're going to want to consider is that these clients are respectful of your time, and also that they're going to be pretty chill about time frames and your schedule, because as you grow, you're not going to be as available to knock out these projects in 2 weeks, right? And so you want to find clients that respect your time and know that your time is valuable, and so they're willing to either push back deadlines or set deadlines further down the road just so they can work with you. The other thing that makes a perfect web design client is that they trust your expertise and your opinion. Now, what I mean by this is if they come to you with something they want done on their website or a campaign, but you don't feel like that's in the best interest of a business, they should be willing to appreciate and trust your expertise and opinion and go with what you've decided rather than what they want. And anytime that a client's willing to do this, it means that they value your expertise more than what they think they know. And finally, and very obvious, is some of these perfect web design clients are hopefully going to refer you to other great clients. So now that we've talked about that, I want to discuss the 3 most efficient ways to attract these perfect clients. And the first of those is you have to understand that these perfect clients are not going to come overnight. So if you just started designing websites or freelancing yesterday, the chances of you landing a $100,000 client are not very good. And while that may seem a little discouraging, that's okay, because we all have to start somewhere. And you're going to have to prove your worth and your value and your expertise over time, and by doing a bunch of different projects in order for you to start reaching that next level of client. Now, for me, that's exactly how it was. When I started out, I was working with really small local businesses that had maybe a $500 budget for a website, and it was frustrating because these clients were not paying me very much, and they also were asking for way more than they probably should have. They were really demanding. They didn't trust my expertise. And looking back, I totally understand that because I didn't have the expertise. But as I slowly built up, I went from charging $500 to $1,000 to $3,000 to $10,000 to $75,000, and that's going to grow over time. So just remember that it's not going to happen overnight, and that's okay, but it will happen if you put in the work. And so number 1 is be willing to spend the time and put in the work to build up to those big clients. Now, the other thing that I found is while you're being patient and looking for these clients, don't feel like you have to wait 5 years to land those big clients. A lot of times you can reach that higher level client, if not through your website or SEO or even from your social media. A lot of times these will come in the form of referrals. And so while it's not impossible, just be ready to be patient and put in the work to build your reputation, build your expertise, and those big clients will come. Now, the second most important thing that you need to remember when it comes to attracting these perfect clients is, typically speaking, the most important aspect within the relationship between you and that client is trust. And a lot of times that trust is not going to be built over one single phone call or them seeing one single ad, right? That trust is going to come over time and time and time again of them seeing your face, hearing your voice, seeing kind of the value that you've provided for other people, and getting that social proof. And so you have to remember that if you're, for example, trying to run Google ads to reach businesses to build their website, and you're wondering, oh man, I don't know why these people won't hire me or why they don't trust me. And the reason they don't trust you is they don't know you. They haven't seen you. They haven't heard your voice. If they have, it was on a single ad, which people are typically skeptical of anyways. And so you need to think about that and determine what are some ways that I can reach these potential clients multiple times and have multiple touch points where they are seeing my face, they're hearing my voice, they're seeing my work, they're seeing other clients that I've worked with. And that's why I found that when it comes to social media, especially YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, these are some great ways to basically get people to follow or subscribe and then view multiple pieces of content. And over the course of them watching all this content, they're going to start to trust you more and more and more. And I've had clients that have reached out to me from my YouTube channel that say, I've been watching your videos for 6 months and I just finally felt comfortable enough to reach out to you to hire you for a website. And so again, the second most important thing that you have to remember is that you have to build trust, and that's not going to come from one single interaction. And so you need to determine what you need to do to either get their email or get them to follow you or subscribe to you. And then you need to roll out great content that's going to build that trust over time. And by doing that, I promise, even though it feels like a lot of work up front, it will pay dividends 10x, 100x, because these clients are going to start coming out of the woodworks ready and willing to work with you. And as they trust you, right from the start, they're going to value you as an expert. And so by basically controlling the way that they find you and the way that they feel about you when they first reach out to you, they are going to be much better clients than those that maybe reach out to you or hire you after seeing a single ad. And so as you remember that and as you put that into practice, I promise you that these clients are going to be much, much better for you. Now, the third most important thing that you need to remember, and I want to spend the most time on this one, is oftentimes the perfect clients aren't necessarily found, but they're made by you, the freelancer. And what I mean by this is a lot of times I hear freelancers complaining about how bad their clients are, or their clients, are demanding too much, or they don't want to pay them. And usually to me, there certainly are bad clients out there, but usually to me this means that you as a freelancer have not done your part. You haven't set the expectations. You haven't shown them how to act. Because you have to remember that for you as a freelancer, you've gone through this process a bunch of different times. You've built relationships with a bunch of different clients, and you know how to act. But chances are that this person that's hiring you, they have no clue how to act in this scenario or within this relationship. And especially if, like on our last point, like we talked about, if they don't trust you, they're going to be more willing to kind of be scatterbrained or take advantage of your time or do different things like that to ensure that this process goes smoothly. And normally they'll do that because you haven't reassured them of how the process works and that it does work, and you haven't set those ground rules, right? And so you need to remember that oftentimes bad clients are not found, but they're made. And if you make a bad client, if you push people to not trust you or to not trust your process, or if you push their project back or don't hit deadlines, these are all ways that you're going to create bad clients. The one thing that I want you to take from this video is the quality of your clients will never surpass your quality as a freelancer. And so if you're a mediocre freelancer, you're probably only going to find mediocre or worse clients. And so by increasing your value and the value of working with you, those great clients are going to find you naturally. So when it comes to ground rules, there are a couple things that I want you to keep in mind just to make sure that you can turn these clients into the perfect client, okay? And the first of these is you need to control how they find you. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier in this video, but by controlling where these people find you, you're going to have a lot more control over how they treat you, right? So I see this all the time where somebody will come to me as a referral and they'll say, oh, hey, I had a friend that used to, or that you built their website like years ago, and they only paid you $700 and their website is awesome. So I want you to do that for me as well. And so this potential client, they came to me with this already this idea of what kind of freelancer I was and how much I was worth and the value that I would provide for that little amount of money. And so by them finding me this way, they already are not going to value me. And especially if I try to charge them $5,000 for a site, they're going to be frustrated. They're going to be upset. And so you can see how the way that people find you is really, really important. Now, you may not have really any control over those types of referral traffic, but consider your social media. Consider the other ways that people are finding you. If you're marketing yourself as a super cheap web designer, when people find you, that's in their head already. They're already expecting that. And so what you need to do instead is change that frame and help people find you in the right way. If they find me through YouTube or some other social media channel, and they see me pumping out content and showing how I'm making tons of money for my clients and how effective our team is and our processes are, when they reach out to me, they already have in their head that this is somebody that's going to cost more, but it's going to be worth it. And so make sure that you control the way that people find you. The next thing you can do is charge more. Now, this might seem difficult because oftentimes you feel like a client is a bad client when you try to charge more and they tell you no. But oftentimes, you know, when I talk about charging more, this comes way before you actually talk about money or price. When I say price more, you need to almost have this baseline or this standard in your head that we don't ever take a project less than, say, $5,000. And by setting that standard, you're automatically going to weed out the clients that don't fit that. But also, as you move into pricing, you're going to be ultra confident in how much you charge and how much you're worth. And by charging more, clients are, again, either going to get scared off or they're going to say, wow, well, I don't know why he charges $5,000 for a website, but it must be worth it because he's so confident in offering this to us. And so by increasing your prices, you can increase the respect that your clients have for you, and they're going to value you more as an expert because people always value what they pay for more than what they pay less for, right? And so remember that the more you pay, the more they're going to appreciate you. The next thing is sticking to your guns. And what I mean by this is know your process, know the scope of the project, know the expectations, and then don't waver from those, right? If a client is demanding something outside of scope, just say no, right? Don't budge on those things. As you stick to your guns, you're going to show them that, no, I'm the expert, I have the process, I'm not going to get pushed around by you. And by doing this, again, they're going to respect you and they're going to say, okay, this person knows what they're doing, I'm going to stop questioning them. And to go right along with that, you need to be really good at saying no. And don't be afraid to say no. If something is getting asked of you or demanded of you that doesn't help with the project, or it's not relevant right now, or it's not of like top importance, say no. And by saying no, you'll be blown away at how much people respect you. It might be scary to tell a client no, especially if they're paying you a good amount of money, but by saying no, they will respect you more. And finally, be sure to set those boundaries, but then if boundaries get crossed, make sure that you set your client straight. There is nothing wrong with having a hard conversation about a client, even if you're mid-project, because by doing this, it will put you back on course, it will realign the way things are going, and hopefully from that point on, they will start respecting you more. I have this all the time where I set expectations and weeks go by and the client starts to forget expectations and they start to demand more. And I have to have that call and say, listen, this was not what we discussed. This is not going to be possible for us to do. And so you're going to have to find another way, or you're going to have to be patient with us. And by setting them straight, they will, again, correct their course and they'll start respecting you more and they'll start following those expectations again. So the final thing that I'll say is if you feel like a client truly is a bad client, if they're not going to respect you, if you can tell within the first 1 or 2 meetings that they're going to be a hassle or ask for too much or constantly ask for discounts, just let them go. I promise you it's never going to be worth it to take on those clients. It might be tempting, but at the end of the day, by saying no to those clients and then leaving your schedule open for good clients, you will always be happier and you're always going to end up getting paid more and having more success. And so don't be afraid to turn clients away if they're not going to be a good fit for you. So if you're feeling any added confidence about finding clients, and if you found this video helpful, please be sure to click that like button down below and also subscribe if you want to catch future videos that we have coming out about helping you land new clients. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.